we were discussing about the concept of taqwa. Then we looked at the concept of haqq, and in a bit more detail we were looking at the concept of nur, because nur is one of the very important aspect that is discussed in the Quran, and this is in the extension of the tafsir, the mystical interpretations which ulum al-Quran tend to focus upon. So as the author or of the book which will be coming out, or Agha Shumalit have earlier mentioned in the very beginning that he wanted to focus more on the spiritual aspect of the Quran while discussing the sciences of the Quran. Like as we were talking about the aspect of the nur, Allahu nuru samawati wal ard, we clearly mentioned that God is considered as light, as God, as nur. God himself is nur. And there are three places where the word of nur and God is used. Wallahu mutimun nure, where God will complete the nur. And in Surah Saf, where they say that they would like to blow the candle or the nur of God, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the protector of that. Or Allah will protect the nur in another place. But in these two verses of the Quran, the aspect of God being nur is not there, but rather it's the hidayat or the guidance of God as nur is there. But in the ayah Nur, which is Surah Nur, which is very fascinating verse of the Quran, which talks that God himself as light, God himself as Nur. And in the book he discusses in detail the tafsir of this ayah. Maybe we can shed some light on this ayah Nur. And it's very interesting way God have really expressed the aspect of him being the light, Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. And he compared this to a lantern, to a niche, where for example you have that lantern which have two sides mirror, and it has a olive oil in which this lantern is dipped in. And let me get the translation of it. If you thank you very much. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. A likeness of his light is as a niche in which is a lamp. The lamp is in a glass, and the glass is as it were a brightly shining star. The glass itself doesn't have the aspect of giving light, but the glass is so bright that it is like a shining star. So that means that the glass also is so refined that it is, it tends to have its own light as well, but which is from the light of God obviously, but it is very refined glass. It's not taking it's not retaining any light. Any glass that that the light passes through, it tends to retain some light. That's why it gets heated up. This is an indication that it's retaining light. If it is pure, it will not heat up. It will be like 100% transformation. So this one is something of that accord, that it is like a star, in its shining star, lit from a blessed olive tree. Now once again, why olive tree? Why not some other tree? Because olive tree tend to how shall I say, contain or take the maximum amount of light compared to other trees, and they tend to grow only in a region where there is direct sunlight, and like Mediterranean for example, right? And they tend to grow straight as well, and that's why neither eastern nor western So the tree, if it turns left, the shade will fall, it will not take good light. If it bend towards the, for example, west or east, whichever direction, it will have some sort of shade, and it will not take that sufficient light to really provide that oil. A type of oil, as it says, the oil whereof almost gives light through fire, touch it not. So even the oil is so shiny that naturally, like for example, if there's a dark room and you have olive oil, or for example, then if you turn the light on, then we'll see the olive oil. But this oil is so shiny, is so much light in it, that even if it's dark, it is shining. So such an oil. So this lamp, this nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is basically lit from such an oil which is an olive oil, a tree which has been described to be having that capability and capacity of extracting or taking or conducing complete light from the heaven, right? A straight tree, and so almost gives light, though fire touch it not. Light upon light. So this is a light upon light. Nur ala nur means the light of olive oil shining and the light of the lamp itself. So it's nur ala nur. This is very symbolic. All of these, who are these, for example, usually is an indication of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And then Allah guides to His light from He pleases. So Allah will guide people from this light whom He desires, whom He wills, right? When a person is born, he is given this light with him. He comes with this light. And this light is sufficient enough for him to return to God. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And that is the spirit of his, basically. As we were talking about the spirit shining on a hut, shining on an ocean last week. So this light is when God blows into the fetus, into Adam, his spirit, 4 months. That is the beginning of that light. Now obviously the effect of the parents are there as well to increase this light. But all human beings, they get this light. And they are born with this light. Now they can either add to this light or subtract to this light. And we have already agreed there's no such thing as utter darkness. Because darkness exists, which is like a shadow. The shadow will have no meaning if there is no light. Because there is light, there is shadow. Right? But the shadow have some sort of wujud, some sort of existence. That means it's light. To that bare minimum capacity or whatever. Right? As we said, even shaitan, for example, as we were saying, right? So the light is given to us right at the time of the birth or even before birth, for example. And we, with parents, with our actions, either we make this light less or we increase the light. Or we carry this light from birth till, for example, as we return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with this light. And in Surah Hadid, we talk about this as well, the concept of light. In Surah Hadid, as we say that, يوم ترى المؤمنين والمؤمنات يسعى نورهم بين أيديهم وبأيمانهم. On the day that they will see the mu'mineen and mu'minat, in front of them there is nur of them, right? بشراكم اليوم, good news, get glad tidings to them. جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها ذلك الفوز العظيم. Then يوم يقولوا المنافقون والمنافقات للذين آمنوا انظرونا نقتبس من نوركم قيل ارجعوا وراءكم فالتمسوا نورا. So they will, when the munafiqun and munafiqat will see this light and will want to take from this light. But, they will be asked that, they, قِيلَ رِجْعُوا وَرَاءَكُمْ, فَالْتَمِسُوا نُورًا, bring your own light. فَضُرِبَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِسُورٍ لَهُ بَابٌ بَاطِنُهُ فِيهِ الرَّحْمَةُ وَظَاهِرُهُ مِنْ قِبَلِهِ الْعَذَابُ. And then they will be struck with a door, with a closing, with a closure. In batin is the rahmah, which is the mu'mineen and mu'minat, and outside is their azab, which is the munafiqeen and all that. So the mu'mineen and the munafiqeen, they may be next to each other, but they will not be able to benefit from that light. As for example, if I have a light, the person next to me will be able to benefit, to see the path. But this light, which is a special light, and the same way as, for example, when we are blessed with the nur of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, we understand, we realize, our love increases and our understanding increases. But someone who have no compatibility with that nur, they are unable to see, they are unable to comprehend, they are unable to really, enjoy and have that sort of pleasure from the nur, from the qualities of Amirul Mu'mineen or Ahlul Bayt that is discussed. They are not really moved by it because they don't have that capacity. There is no compatibility of that light, whatever they have, with the light which is outside of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. But for us, we tend to connect and we increase this light, and the Mu'mineen and Mu'minat together, they increases this light. And also, if you look at this concept of light in the Quran, in Surah An'am, it talks about that God is the creator of the heaven and the earth. And then he says that, for example, Alhamdulillah, الَّذِي خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. He is the creator, خلقat, of heaven and earth. Then وَجَعَلَ الظُّلُمَاتِ وَالنُّورِ. And then he placed, or he made, the dhulumat and nur. Dhulumat is once again plural, and nur is singular. Right? There are different types of dhulumat, but nur is only one nur, which is the light, which is the nur, which is God, because Allah is the nur. Right? Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. But dhulumat are of many kind. Perfection is one, but the limitations and the different naqs are ila mashallah, but the kamal is one, which contains all of the perfect qualities of God within it. Right? So once again, the concept of nur, for example, he's saying he's not the creator of nur, but he's the creator of the heaven and earth. And then he waja'ala dhulumat wa nur, right? So he placed the dhulumat, and he placed that nur, he extended that nur, and we tend to see this, aspect of nur as guidance, nur as book, and usually coming in a singular form, the same as how, for example, you would find the Quran as, or the kitab, not the Quran, kitab. Like, for example, in one of the verses, he says Allah gave Torah and Nur to Musa alayhi salam. Once again, the aspect of Nur in the Quran, the concept of Nur in the Quran. And if you look at the aspect of this Nur vis-a-vis the aspect of the Kitab, which ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ, as we say, is this book, right? When it talks about the prophets, it talks about different Anbiya. But when it talks about the books, it doesn't talk about Kutub. It talks about Kitab. It is always used in a singular form in the Quran. Just like how the Nur is used in the singular form. So this Quran is an extension, or if I want to say, is the last chapter of that one book which started from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Torah, the Injil, the Zabur, all of these are nothing but the book, one book. So we have one book. This once again points out to the aspect of the unity, the oneness, the nature of oneness in all of the adyan. It is basically people who have divided and created the differences. Moses is the founder of Judaism, for example, and the book that they follow is Torah, or the Old Testament, for instance. Jesus is the founder of Christianity, and the book that they follow is Bible, which is different to Torah. Or the Prophet is Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he's the founder, and the religion is Islam, and the book that they follow is the Quran. No, it's not the case. It's all but Torah and Injil and Quran is one. It's one book. It's a book of God. Just same way as all of the other prophets are prophets of God. It's just extension, and according to the time and space that they were in, and they spoke according to the communities that they were sent. But it is one message, one book, one nur. This concept of nur, the concept of book, we tend to see being repeated over and over again in the Quran. Now, Allahu nuru samawat wal ard, and he gives this Allahu nuru samawat wal ard as Allah. He gives that example of that, mathala nurihi ka mishkat, like the example of Allah as the nur of samawat wal ard is like this, is like this niche, and in which is a lamp. So you have a lamp inside, and the lamp is in a glass, and the glass is as it were a brightly shining stars, lit from a blessed olive tree. So now this lamp is being lit by from this olive tree, which meaning that the source of it is olive tree, a tree which does not turn east, does not turn west, which provides that pure oil, olive oil, which is shiny in its nature. Essentially it has its own shine as well. And then in this nur is lit, which is, so when we talk about Ahl Bayt alayhi salam as the Anwar, as we recite in Ziyarat al-Jami Kabira, is a ishara, is an indication towards this, that they are that shining light. They themselves are, for example, when we are saying Allah is nur, of the heaven and earth, they themselves says that nahnu asma'ullah. We are the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The light, the Ahl Bayt alayhi salam are the light. Ahl Bayt alayhi salam are the guide. Ahl Bayt alayhi salam are the asma, are the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? And this ayah is beautifully pointing out to, particularly to this, the Ali Abba. There are 5 aspects that are discussed in this ayah. Okay. Now, the further discussion will we be having after the break same Ulum al-Quran? Will be continuing, or we
haven't confirmed?
Right. Oh, okay. Then the author, basically after pointing out to this spiritual aspect by which we should really benefit, we should take as a Quran as a spiritual guide to us. These are and the continuous recitation of this will give us will make us understand different concepts of the Quran, like the concept of nur, the concept of haqq, and the concept of sharia, which once again hidayat. Then the point of compilation, in which year it was compiled, the chapters, whether these names of the chapters was given by the Prophet or it was something that was done later. They tend to be difference of opinion in regards to that. Aghay in his tafsir, he says that no, all of the compilation, the names of the chapters, when to stop, where to stop, was done by the Prophet. And the latest discovery of the Quran in Birmingham, once again they have said that yes, it's the time of the Prophet, and they are chapters, and the names of the chapters are given, and they are beginning with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim as well as the Quran that we have. It's an evidence once again to the point that the Prophet, he compiled it, because this Quran, they say, is the time of the Prophet. You know, the paper, the ink and everything is an indication that it was at the time of the Prophet. So it's quite fascinating, this new discovery of the Quran that have taken place, and it's a complete book, and still obviously they are working on it. So I think we can, if you can discuss a bit more in terms of the Manavi aspect, now that we are beginning the month of Quran, you know, the spring of Quran, which is from tomorrow or day after. Some people started today, obviously, with Sha'ban. Thursday or Friday, right? Thursday, inshallah. So how would you be looking at, what is your habit in terms of the Quran? What do you do in the month of Ramadan particularly? Is it every day you recite one juz, or?
You mean personally or in the mosque?
In the mosque we have, you know, option for everybody to recite personally. Maybe we can share and help each other, you know. Right.
The target is to reflect every day, and then to take at least one or two and to try and ponder them.
If you look at the Wasiyat of Amirul Mu'mineen, last will, he points out to, you know, do not be far away from the Quran, do not desert the Quran, do not be from those where others will surpass you in the implementation of the Quran in their life. And when we look at, for example, some of the human values that are there in the West, for example, we tend to see that, you know, they are implementing the teachings of the Quran without, you know, being aware of the Quran, that they exist in the Quran perhaps, right? And Amirul Mu'mineen warned us, you know, in his last will, he clearly mentions that, you know, do not desert the Quran, do not be far away from the Quran, and make sure that, you know, you implement that into your life. Yes, recitation is good, finishing of one juz is good, but it's more important that we, you know, bring the Quran to our daily routine, to our life, we start seeing things and implementing, you know, the teachings of the Quran. Like, for example, Surah, because I was just going through the will of Amirul Mu'mineen, it also have the aspect of taking care of the orphans, you know. And in one of the surahs it says that those yukadhibu bid-deen, you know, how does that surah begin? Yadu al-yatim, you know, those who, you know, basically deprive the yatim. They are the one who, then the kids who deny the qiyamah. So, who do not take care of the orphans? Those who deny the qiyamah, they are the one who will not take care of the orphans. I mean, if you look at the will of Amirul Mu'mineen, you find that, you know, prayers and fasting, he talks about it. He talks about prayers. He talks about Hajj. He talks about, you know, Amar bil Maruf, Nahi anil Munkar. All prior to all of this sort of furu ad-din, he talks about reconciling, getting rid of the differences, making two people sort of, if they are fighting, you go and reconcile them. And he says that it is better than prayers and fasting. Then which is basically the teachings of the Quran. Then he talks about orphans before prayers and fasting, before Hajj, before Amal bil Ma'ruf. That, you know, take care of the orphans, right? So, you know, the Quran once again points out to that. So when we are practically doing these things, that's bringing the Quran to our life, right? One thing that the community should have a different methodology of taking care of the orphans. The Prophet says that, a house that honors the yatim, you have to honor them, izzah, honoring them, not really stamping the label of them being orphan. And most of the time that's what we tend to do. We have an orphanage, a big notice board that you are an orphan, and all are in one place, all orphans are there. And as soon as we make them realize that they are orphan. And the way of Ahlul Bayt was that they never make them realize that they are orphan. They take care. He says that take care of the orphans and make them part of make sure that they are part of your material need. Meaning that when you have that material need, they should be part of that too. Not branding them as they are orphan. Like for example, what effect it will have. There's a young child 20 years ago. We opened an orphanage and we had his picture and we advertise with his picture. This is orphan, support him. After 20 years, he's 30, 35. He Google himself. Look at this orphan picture. People, what sort of morale he will have? What sort of honor we are giving this orphan, this person? What effect, psychological effect he will have, right? We tend to give them the best. For example, we said, we have an orphanage, we are giving them laptops, we have computer, we are teaching them, but we are completely putting them in a corner and stamping them that these people are orphan, rather than really taking care of them in such a fashion that they are part and parcel of the society and they don't realize that they are orphan. So, in terms of, the wasiyat of Amirul Mu'mineen, and when he comes after mentioning all of this, then he comes to the Quran and the implementation of the Quran in our life. So, the way, Quran talks about taking care of orphan, the way Quran talks about, connecting the kin, silatul rahim and all that. These are the practical examples that I think we should probably in the month of Ramadan try to bring it into our life, practically speaking. It's very easy to go online and click maybe, for fees, no, for a goat to be sacrificed in Africa, or no, sadaqah for education, for blanket, for this, different boxes that we tick. For orphan, okay. So it has to be something, a bit more where we personally get involved rather than just clicking the boxes and donating some. That's good. We are not saying that something is being done and taken care of, but we have to have a much more subtle approach to these things and bring a change, how to attend to these things. The funds will be the same funds, but how we gonna, not marginalize them, not corner them, but bring them into our society. Adoption, if possible, perhaps, or some other things that are possible. Creating that relationship. Inshallah. So we'll stop here, inshallah. And any questions? Thank you for bearing, with me for these nights. For inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq that we make Quran as our daily practice, our daily recitals. Just like I always say, one of the things that I have really found very positive or affected me is, making it some sort of daily recital as wajib, without which I will, just like how salat is, just like how prayers, For example, we go somewhere, we get tired, we're on the motorway, we reach home, we've got busy with family or whatever, and then we go to bed. About to sleep, we say, oh, I didn't do Maghrib Isha. We already realize, then we can't go to sleep, you know what I mean? We somehow get up. So the same way I think we should do to the Quran. Maybe some surahs, like I was mentioning Surah Waqi'ah, for example, Sabbahat at night, for example, Surah Hadid, Surah Hashr, any one of these surahs, Waqi'ah and Hadid maybe. Make it like a regular, like a wajib practice. Before sleeping, I have to read no matter what. It's like wajib for me. I'm tired, I can't open my eyes. No, I'm going to wash my face and read it. To that extent, I'm lying down and about to sleep. No, I will get up and do it. And if it becomes that, then we become very watchful and vigilant. I know I'm going to be tired tonight, so I don't want that to happen. So I'll read very quickly. Just finish it after Isha prayer. Let's quickly read it. Even I would not prefer you to listen. Maybe I'm driving now. Just let me listen to it. No. Yes, you can, but practice on the book first, right? And because when it comes with convenient, it goes away with convenient. But when it comes with tough, and then with convenient, we can carry it down. We can keep it with us. But that should not be all the time. Sometimes, okay. And even try to find a recital which is clear. Sometimes we are listening, it's not exactly what comes to our ear, then we could repeat, for example, by listening. So we have to find someone, but this will happen first when we read it on the book, and it kind of sinks in with our mind, with our heart, like Surah Yasin. You listen to anybody Surah reciting on phone or in our car, Surah Yasin, we relate to it because Surah Yasin have already sink in our heart. So the same way other surahs, Surah Hadid, Surah Waqi'ah, Surah, the Sabbahat at night perhaps. These surahs, if you recite for a month, 40 days, 3 months, 4 months, it sinks in, and then we can probably use the phone, or CD or whatever. So inshallah, hope it works, inshallah. Thank you very much, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Sheikh, for your amazing efforts. We're grateful for the efforts you take, and please, during this holy month that is coming, please don't forget us in your prayers, inshallah.
Inshallah, thank you. You as well, all of you as well, inshallah. رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة لأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات. بسم الله.